Usually, when a person decided to bullying someone, they will start with verbal bullying and then start with the second type, physical bullying. Physical bullying is, well, like the name, just they are bullying using physical abusement, harassment, and just straight up beating that person up. Yeah, and this is this is more common among boys because, well, let's face it, boys have more tendency to be beaten up rather than girls because we girls like to use words to bully somebody else. The next type is relational bullying. This is the type that the person who is a relational bullying, they seems to be pretty smart in combining between the verbal bullying and the physical bullying. Really smart, and they somehow can hide their identity. Yes, they somehow can hide their identity, and it can go on for like a really long time, and the victim still doesn't know who the heck's the culprit. And now for the fourth type, I seriously hate this type, cyberbullying. You might heard of this, like pretty common. This is basically bullying over social medias. And the bad thing is, number one, you don't know who the culprit is. Number two, that person has a high tendency to like drag people into the fight. Seriously, if you want to bully someone, just keep it between you and that person. Don't drag more people into it because I'm sure that if you are into bullying, you must have problems. So, the first question is, why do people bully other people? Well, the most common answers that we get from other people is because they are insecure or maybe they are jealous of the victims. Honey, I don't think people are that sensitive. I do believe the one part that they are insecure, but I disagree about the jealous part. Because if they feel insecure and they see another person has something maybe better that maybe they are better at them in a significant category, jealous is not something that they would feel. They would feel angry at themselves and not being able to express it. That's how I think they would express it towards the victim, like the punching bag. And I believe that these people who decide to bully, well, they must be bored as hell because there are two types of bullies. Number one are the insecure one. They have reasons to bully other people. They have their own reasons, and maybe the circumstance have forced them to be, or maybe they're too shy to express their problems, or maybe they just need a real good listener, or they just need a therapist. And the second types are straight up sociopath. Because believe me, there are some bullies that they just bullies for fun because they feel dominating. They feel like they are empowering other people and they like the feeling of empowering other people. And I'm like, dude, get a doctor, get a psychiatrist, get anyone to help you. And maybe this type is pretty rare because, well, not many people are born with that type of mental illness, but they do exist. For example, right in my school, when I was in 6th grade, one of the boys in my class was bullied by this 9th grade, by senior. He was pretty big, he was really tall and big, and I was always questioning, boy, do you even lift? I believe he does. And he keeps bullying my classmate for like a few months, and seriously, witnessing it, I find that this boy, seriously, he's too sadistic to even have any kind of insecurities. Seriously, like, he has this face of a prince. He's really handsome, I admit though, but his attitude just makes me want to punch him in the face. He's a sadist. I don't think that he has any kind of insecurities. He's a straight up sociopath. And guess what? I was right. 2 years later, there was a rumor among our neighborhood that that senior is now in a mental hospital. God damn it, I am so awesome. I mean, I'm a genius for discovering it at such a young age. And that's example number one. Example number two. I don't know if you know, but I had a friend online. His name is just Okay, I'll just call him A. And A, he seems to be a pretty normal person to me. Like, we chat sometimes. He's a pretty good guy until he start posting pictures, weird pictures of victims of bullying. And I was questioning. I thought that he was the one who's being bullied until he said that no, I was the one who bullies. I just find that interesting, and somehow it became a bad hobby of mine. I just can't quit it. It's addicting like smoking. That's exactly what he said. I mean, exactly what he texted. So yeah, I cut every single kind of relationship with him online because that's a straight up sociopath. I was so afraid. Like, I was an online friend with a sociopath. Oh no, honey. Oh no, 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 honey. That's not how I do things. So yeah. And now for the victims. Now the question is, who's the one who's often bullies? Well, it could be anyone. Well, usually people who seems to be shy, they have negative thoughts, or their family has some kind of bad reputation for something, or they are just straight up having appearance problem, or maybe they involved in the LGBT, anything. They could be bullied for anything. Well, consider for the first type of bullies, well, maybe they're better at them in some kind of categories. But if they happens to meet up with the second type of bullies, well, sorry, honey, if you're perfect, you'll be bullied just because he doesn't like you and he's a straight up sociopath. And I believe that many of the victims, they don't they're not brave enough to talk this problem to their parents because apparently in maybe in foreign countries, families aren't that bonding. Because I've read some newspaper, and it says that children lived in separate rooms when they were a baby, and they are very eager to get out of the house, get a separate life. So I believe that maybe that's a reason why they don't want to talk this problem to their parents. But there could be other problem, being traumatized by bullying. Because let's be real, some of those threats by the bullies, they could be harmless, but some, let's just say, they're really stupid, and it is it is it is possible for the bullies to do so. They don't know if the bullies are serious about the threats, so they're afraid, and they don't want to talk to their parents or their teachers or their friends about anything involved with bullying. So they just keep quiet until they reach up to a breaking point. And that's when we get to the third point, the consequences. Yeah, the consequences is like the bad part. Like, it will only get worse and worse and worse unless if you actually get some help from your parents and teachers. For example, if you know Amanda Todd, the case from 2013, yeah, she posted a video on YouTube talking about her experience being bullied. She was traumatized and she committed suicide. I didn't watch the video. Apparently, it was deleted from YouTube, but they had some screenshots, and seriously, that's some serious kind of problem. But the worst thing about the consequences is that there could be many kind of consequences. Like, the victims could end up in a mental hospital, or the bullies could end up being in jail if they do cyberbullying. Because let's be honest, invading other people's privacy, not a good thing at that age. But the worst thing is they don't acknowledge of the fact that the consequences are bad. And even if they are like reminded about it, they will still continue doing it until they got to witness one. Well, but the sad thing is, only until then they will stop. I don't get it. Do the bullies ever thought about the consequences of bullying other people? Because straight up, you're dumb. You cannot predict the future. So it's like the butterfly effect. Everything you do will affect your futures. Every choice you make will affect the future. Every choice you make, you have to be super careful. But some people just love to be careless. and they just make the aggressive choice, any kind of choice that comes up their mind first, and the consequences are unavoidable. But of course there are laws, but in some countries those laws doesn't apply. For example, in Vietnam, I'm not bashing Vietnam, but the children, the the children rights, like, does anyone apply it? Like, children still get harassed every day. They still have to suffer from many problems in society every day. Seriously, Vietnam is one of those countries that children rights, they don't apply to it. Like, for example, in Canada, children are like, how do I say it, treated way better than in Vietnam. Like, there are people who will stand out to protect those children. Both the laws and both the people. In Vietnam, the laws, well, it doesn't do anything. It's useless for children in Vietnam. Like, you can ask the authority if they remember any segment from the children's right, and they won't be remember anything, except for the one part that children have the right to be born, and that's it. And and furthermore, some countries doesn't even accept the rules. So school bullying just keep spreading for years and years, and it's getting worse because this is the age of technology and cyberbullying is getting like quite popular nowadays. So for more interesting part, story time. So I think you might have known that I've been to England before for 2 weeks, and this is the part that I've never told my parents because they would be worried as hell. But as this topic is, well, relevant, I will tell you guys this part of the story that I have never told anyone. True story. So yeah, we went to Churchill, and there was this girl that she looked straight up like Regina George. Seriously though, like, she wears all pink and she has blonde hair. Coincident? I think not. And she has this very sassy look, like if she look at someone she'll be like, eh. She is a straight up kamidera, like she thinks she's a god. Oh no honey, you're not a god. And for some reason, I do not look that shy, I do not look that negative, but she just happened to choose me as a victim. And don't worry guys, I'm not that type of person that will be like, when being bullied. Oh no honey, I know how to take care of that girl, because straight up from the first look, I already hate that girl. Seriously though, no one will love that kind of look on that kind of girl's face. Like, straight up, she is so annoying. So the first day, when I got let's just say that I got how do I say that? I dragged the suitcase to my room, and after I got things out, I organized everything. I was about to take a bath, and until I met this girl through the hallway, and she just looked at me with this face like, and I'm like, bitch, you wanna fight? But of course, I have to keep my temper. So I went for a shower, and for the second day, first day of school, very exciting. And I just happened to be at the same class as her. What a fun thing. And at the reset, I tried to walk out of the classroom as fast as possible because I don't want to see that girl's face, because I might go crazy. But then she just like cabedoned me into the wall. If you don't know what cabedon is, it's like an action of cornering someone into the wall. Yeah, it's like it usually appears in romantic novels. But she just straight up cabedoned me and said, "You look like a beggar." She said that. Well, I admit though, I do look kind of like a beggar because I had nice clothes. I do have nice clothes, but I don't want to send out the I'm a rich girl vibe, so I try to bring out my most normal clothes. Well, but it turns out to look a bit like a beggar to her. I look pretty normal. I don't look like a beggar just to her, because obviously. And so I had this look. And so I said, "Oh my god, thank you for reminding me that beggars now need better clothes. We should totally do that in the future." And she looked at me with the eyes like, and I just like, "Now can you please remove your arm because I'm kind of late for lunchtime." Seriously though, it's lunchtime. I'm so hungry. And she